Hello, my name is Layla and welcome to my weekly analysis for the week commencing the 25th of June 2017. And this week I'm going to be looking at Aussie dollar. And as usual, I like to start with the context, and in this case the context is pretty well placed on the monthly chart, where we can see the greater picture of where we've actually come from. And in particular, I want you to notice that in terms of cyclicity, we are making higher lows and higher highs. Now, obviously, some of these moves last some years, and actually when they're in a range, they can last also as many years as this may have taken to move down. So in terms of any sort of immediate kind of action that we might need to take, you're not really going to find that information on the monthly, but certainly in terms of what we're trying to get past any barriers, whether that be EMAs or levels of support and resistance or previous highs and lows, this is pretty useful information. So the reason why I want to look at this particular time frame right now is because I want you to take special notice of what the current circumstances are at the moment, which is that we are more or less in a range-bound pattern, but we are making higher lows into a level of resistance. Now, this level of resistance is actually now made up of a zone which I would determine as being 0.76 and 0.77, and we are currently trying to wrestle with the 0.76 level, which we'll have a look at on the weekly time frame. I wanted you to take a good look at this because we can actually see a similar pattern up here at this high, and consequently after that we had quite a powerful move. So if this does break through the 76 and the 77 level, then we could have quite a strong move, certainly up into the next resistance level, which is at 0.8, a good round number. Plus also this would probably interact really well with the monthly 50 EMA. So let's have a look at the weekly and see what we've got in terms of a bit more detail. Let me just make this a tiny bit bigger. Get this into position. So as you can see, we're currently just below the 0.76 level. We've made a little sort of small bearish bar. The previous week actually looked like it had all the potential of moving through to test the 76 level, and actually it didn't. It sold off at the highs actually, so this didn't make really any moves higher at all, and it sold off into a little sort of what I'd call an EMA support point. Now we will have a closer look at that, but I just wanted you to take note again about the fact that this 76 level is of some importance, because this is where we found price rested very well and found good level of support and actually pushed away pretty strongly for it. Certainly these would have been going on for a few weeks, so that would have been a decent little bit of a sort of uptrend that you might have been able to make use of on a smaller time frame like the hourly or the 4 hour. But this is certainly the level that we need to get through, and of course then we're faced with the next level, which is the key point for me, which is 0.77. So if I just make this a tiny bit bigger, we can see a bit more about what's going on with the EMAs, which I think is important to note, because clearly price has spent a great deal of time weaving above and below this sort of I'd say midpoint which these EMAs are making. The reason why I'm interested in this particular point now is because not only have we made another attempt by making a higher low, we've had one here, we've had one here, we've had one here, and we've had one here. Not only are we making another attempt with a higher low, but we've actually pushed through the 76 level, the 0.76 level, made a little bit of a pullback into what I'm hoping is going to be the 50 and the 20 and the 10 being the turquoisey one, and the 20 being this sort of bright darkish neon blue colour. They're actually getting into the right order. So if these begin to open out slightly, i.e. the 50, the 20 and the 10 are all in the correct order, i.e. 10 is closest to price, we could find that this becomes much more capable of carrying price higher, which is what I would really like to see. You can see a little bit of this here with the 20 and the 10. The 50 was obviously on the wrong side for that time being, and these are much more sort of wrapped around each other and they're not making a great deal of sense. It got a little bit clearer here because we had the 50, the 20 and the 10 in the right order, and we had a good sell-off from there, because this would have been a deep sell-off, a pullback into the EMAs that were originally acting as support, and now they're acting as resistance, and so consequently you'll get a decent move on that, because this looks like the possibility of a start of a downtrend. And certainly in terms of cycles, we've had a high, we've made a lower low, we've made a lower high, we've made another low. Interestingly enough, it matched this low, and this seemed to be the point at which price was able to move through again very powerfully and make a strong claim to try and break through the 77 level. As you can see, that didn't happen. So I'm merely saying that based on what the EMAs are doing, this could be the bullish version of what I've just talked about here. We could be seeing a reasonable push up, a bit of a pullback. Potentially we might even need to see for the week ahead, may even be a tiny bit more selling. I don't want to see too much from the point of view that if this starts to get down into matching the low here, it makes it a little bit more difficult to ascertain whether there's going to be enough strength to push through. So let me just move this over slightly and I'll explain what I mean. If we do sell off past this point, then we have to come back to here, and certainly we wouldn't want to be making a lower low by going into this level here at 73 level. We don't want to be doing that. That's too much. Really, we'd want to be testing this trend line, which would leave us being slightly higher than this, where we might be able to pick up a bit more buying momentum and have another go at breaking through. As if we go back to the monthly chart, and as I was saying then, the overall look of it looks like it wants to try and break through this resistance level. It certainly has all the makings of that kind of shape where you have got higher lows coming into a resistance level, which is exactly what it's doing. So I think overall the effect will be sort of in favour of the bulls, but it's how it's going to do that, and that's what we're trying to look at by looking at the weekly. Certainly at the moment, these EMAs, if they get in the right order, and this week's bar is basically the pullback, and if we have a little bit more of a pullback into the support level at 75, that would still be okay. But if we go back down, if we get past 75, then really we're probably going to end up getting somewhere nearer these lows. So really I don't want to see that for the time being. I'd much prefer to see a small pullback, maybe another bar, that's feasible. So we could have one of those occasions where we have at least a day or two of selling, and then we get back into buying mode. Or it may even be that this is another seller week, and then it's the week after that buys. So I'm afraid I'm not able to give you a huge amount of clarity on that. It's the overall picture on the monthly which is giving us the kind of more bullish indication in terms of the longer term moves. The reason why I've chosen Aussie, even though it's not probably in the best position in many respects, is because there's so much news on Euro and GBP for the week ahead, so it didn't really seem like a good plan, because that could really swing things either way, seeing as there's quite a lot of political influence at the moment on how those currencies move. So focusing on the Aussie, because it's again trying to get near this key level, so we need to keep our eye on this, and I think in general just keep watching that level. But as I said, we've had a bullish push through. Bit of a pullback would be nice. If we can pick up a bit more of these EMAs, starting to carry price up, giving it a bit of support, we may find that we're able to make another attempt here. And certainly for safety reasons, I'd say a move into 0.77 is pretty feasible. I couldn't say for sure whether this is going to be the point that it'll break if it does have its next bullish leg up, but certainly the overall picture from the monthly chart certainly looks at that's what it's like. That looks like what it's trying to do in the longer term, for the longer term. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye bye.